In a way, music and animation are very similar because in the end it's someone in a room making marks on a piece of paper that then in time come to life. I actually think animation is the closest thing to composing in that sense.
Josefine is a 12-minute animated opera. It tells the story of Josefine, who is this little bird-like creature who breaks this planet apart with one piercing note, and she shakes up the existence of these ethereal shoal sprites. I didn't really have a strong idea in mind of what she would be like. I knew she had arms and legs and stuff like that, so it was very, very exciting to have that drawn out by Sophie the animator.
We quite like the idea of her being a little bit baby bird-like when she's in her baby form, that kind of vulnerable, spiky head and some little arms and a nice circular head. And then adult Josephine was definitely the more tricky one to design because we wanted her to feel more elegant, like she had matured into this different creature who suddenly had a sense of their own independence.
She is able to control these shoal sprites with her demands for food, water and shelter, and they soon become addicted to her singing.
I grow alone, like an ambiguous word.
Today is super exciting because it is the recording day of Josefine. So what we did today was we went through all of my arias and pieces and recorded them with the sound engineers and the creative team.
I think it's fabulous.
Really good.
It has been a really interesting process to not really know exactly what I am. But I think the words are so vivid and so descriptive and fun and playful. Also just having really good discussions with Antonia and Sam.
Crumbling and chaos in my head, I don't know why, I think of like ancient civilizations. You know, like that, that sort of ancient, like, and that's almost like maybe the crumbling and chaos is the landscape.
So crumbling columns and chaos, really articulated, but then calming and like ultra legato.
Crumbling columns and chaos are coming and clean. I dream about music and melody. I have seen.
I think Josephine she's very childlike. So that comes with sort of this innate confidence, and also she's quite demanding and also confused, and she requires a lot of attention right at the beginning. You will see that visually, but you definitely hear that in the music.
Dig, dig, dig and dive. Plunge deep in this
It's been made in a very unusual way. We recorded the voices back last January, and then the animators were able to animate while the composer was orchestrating.
It's a fascinating sort of structure because you've got Gemma producing, Antonia is directing, co-libretto, I'm doing the other half of the libretto and the music, and then Sophie is animating. But it does sometimes feel when everyone's in a room together that the roles kind of melt and it's just kind of ideas.
I think they've done an amazing job of like creating this unusual sound world that isn't quite human.
I love the bit of the animation where Josephine meets the shoal sprites, and it's the engagement between the two characters. It's just beautiful. It's a very touching moment.
When I was first chatting about it with Sam, we went through all sorts of iterations of what the shoal sprites might be. They might be like soldiers, they could be like a tribe.
It was sort of this concept that had to be a lot of things, but couldn't be a solid thing. Jean was super helpful at that stage in being able to pin down key aspects of its physics, of how it moved, and doing these tests that were just really beautifully animated, that illustrated the fact that it was one being, but that it was also lots of little ones.
But I think what was really nice was that Sam had spoken about the music doing something to the show sprite and having this ability to be able to morph.
Usually when you have a character, it's sort of, its head looks a certain way, its body, its arms. But with the show sprite, because it's so fluid, it's difficult to keep it, well, it sort of just tailors to every shot.
We could either stay on that close up, or we can cut to the mid where it like snatches it out. Like it struggles a little bit, like it almost, and then it to get it out. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a very big contrast between Josephine's words and the words of the show sprite. When we were in the room seeing the singers, there's one part of it that I just love hearing. The sky will swim to catch your splendor. They're much more commanding in their speech in comparison to Josephine, who's very childlike and just discovering words for the first time.
And what's unique about the chorus is that they sing everything in the first person, because the idea is that the shoal sprite's made up of these individual voices that for most of the opera are singing as one.
And they've also just been really fun to draw all of their funny little mouths and make them sing.
I find nothing to fill the beast, which knows me but with tongue and I shall suck out the scraps.
And then you need to switch very, very suddenly into this dolce. Please put dolce.
The sky will swim to catch your splendor. Home is where you stand, and where you stand is home.
That was great.
Really good. Really good. Yeah, well done.
And then at the end of October, we recorded the orchestra, and just hearing all of that music come together, bring the whole thing to life, was amazing.
For me, the most exciting part of this project was absolutely today, having our full orchestra, hearing for the very first time Sam's amazing orchestration come to life. Even Sam hasn't heard that, he will have heard it in his head.
It's strange because this has all been in my head and here it is in the room. The kind of surprise is how physical the sound is. Even when it exists in your own imagination, literally, until you have that weight of sound hitting you in a room, it's not the same and it's not real. So that is a huge thrill.
I think the first leg can have even more attack.
So when I'm conducting this piece, I absolutely see the animation, what we have of it so far, which is called an animatic. It's absolutely beautiful, and I was able to describe to the orchestra what happens here to get the right colours, which they really took on board. It was fantastic.
I think the most incredible thing that I'm going to have for the whole process is seeing the orchestra. Being in a room with an orchestra and having them create the final soundtrack for the piece.
We've had people all over the UK and in Europe as well working on the project, and just ensuring that all the material comes together at the right time, and trying to get this finished has been tricky. It's been 18 months and yeah, it's been pulling lots of people in lots of different directions to bring it all together. But it's been great. It's been challenging, but it's been really, really good fun.
It's been really nice to be on something that's also so creative and that feels like it's really just come from the soul of Antonia and Sam writing it just as a completely creative endeavour, which I think is really unique.
It has been written for, conceived for an animation, a really beautiful, old-fashioned animation. You know, it's not the CGI, it's beautiful line drawings. I think people are going to be blown away.
I am really excited to hear my voice come out of something that isn't me. I think that will be really, yeah, mind-altering, I think.
There's so much in it. You could watch it and see that it's a lovely story about someone who comes into the world and how she deals with this show sprite who's essentially like a parent to her. And you could watch it like that and just see it as a beautiful thing. But there's also so much in there in terms of basically how freeing art can be, how freeing opera can be to an audience, how exciting that is. And that's what I hope you'll get from it.
And above all, I hope that they enjoy the story and they enjoy the beauty and aesthetic of the medium and how it's all working together.
It's really important to make things that appeal to new and younger audiences and to do things that break boundaries. And we've been able to experiment with animation and opera combined. I'm really, really happy that Scottish Opera commissioned this project and that they believed in us and what we could do, and that they made it part of their creative strategy to create opera in a whole new way. Opera doesn't always need to be on stage, it can be consumed digitally, and then we can get worldwide reach and we can reach audiences that never would get to watch an opera in the auditorium.